had that resolution and I was asking like a month now, about the office hours and stuff.
Yeah, and I told you, Yolanda hasn't put it on, she's not here, so when she comes in, I'll have to do it. So
About the hours of the office.
So for sure, we're gonna have it on the next
I will
meeting.
let her know.
We can barely hear you.
It's not working.
You can add it under new business. Okay. You guys can add it under new business.
Yeah, we go through this at every meeting with these mics. So it only takes a battery.
We've already changed them.
Get some new mics.
Hello? There we go.
It can't cost that much.
Ya le está
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wait for one more meeting.
Mhm.
If not, I'm gonna try to write it myself and then just do it myself. But I can't make up the hours. I just want the hours to be from certain time to certain
And
time.
we have them right now from, the girls come in at 8 and they close the office at 4:30, but they're still working until 5 and phones are getting answered until 5.
So 8. We want the office hours back like it used to be, 8 to 5. You know, and we have 4 employees in the office now, so we can always stagger them so no one goes in overtime. Close the doors at 5. I don't know what close out.
But they don't all do the same job, Sophie. They don't all have the same
They
position.
can all help each other out.
They don't have the same position,
So they
Sophie.
can help each other out.
They don't have the same position,
You
Sophie.
don't have to have the same position.
Yes, they
to
do.
help.
Because Larry does one thing and Yuli does another thing, and these girls each have different job duties. They're not doing everything the same. So the last 30 minutes, they're trying to catch up on what they have not been able to do throughout the day. So like, for instance, yesterday, our phones were ringing like crazy. Just people calling randomly from Tennessee, Florida, Milwaukee, where else, girls?
Everywhere.
Okay.
Then it was the constant, nonstop. We had to turn the phones off because that's how bad it was.
Was it crank calls or something?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
So, you know, the girls got behind on a lot. They've been getting behind on a lot because there's a lot of public records requests
Se me hace
coming
que
in.
no está.
They're dealing with people at the window, just a bunch of stuff going on.
Okay, so still I would like that resolution to be
Okay.
open from 8 to 5,
Well, right now, it's already at,
open for the public.
well, it's gonna have to go back and we'll figure that out, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That needs, and also, were you guys closed for lunch yesterday?
No.
You weren't? Okay. Because I thought we decided we were.
No, they're not allowed to close for lunch.
Okay,
They were closed for lunch the other day,
Someone said they were.
because I went myself, and it was closed.
maybe I got.
I went myself, and it was closed, and there was a line of
Okay.
about 10 people waiting in line to go in there and pay for their water bill.
Okay,
So that
so,
day I was alone. I was alone that day.
Yeah.
So I did close. I had to close to take lunch.
More of a reason for them to stagger their hours during lunch hours. Because what about we run into the situation again?
so
If-
she
if people-
she just said right now she was the only one working.
That's what I'm saying, more of a reason to put their hours back to, from 8 to 5.
Four employees to.
Because, well, there's been a couple that have been sick, so, yeah. I was out for 3 weeks. So, yeah.
More of a reason for them to stagger their hours.
It happen once in a while, we will have to close, just put a sign on the door or something. But normally we should not be closing for lunch.
Yeah, and it's been open for lunch.
Okay.
I know that they've called and asked, and I'm like, nope, office has to stay open. So, they have been open. So, can I get I had a second by Vera, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Go ahead and go on to old business, there is none. We're gonna go ahead and go on to new business.
I think we forgot the consent agenda, the meeting agenda.
Oh, sorry. We're gonna go ahead and I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion for the consent agenda. May you proceed?
I have a motion by Diana. Second by Vera, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now no old business. I'm gonna go ahead and go on to 6, new business. A, the approval of the chlorine system, the invoice and the final breakdown from GNO, so that was what we went over during the 6 o'clock meeting, so we just need to get an approval on that. And I believe the numbers on that are on page 8. If I'm correct, it's the $31,446.59, if I'm correct. And I believe this was supposed to have gone and been approved at the last meeting.
I think it's on page 7 with the taxes, it's a little bit more.
You're correct. So $33,962.32. This is going out to health. So if I can get a motion on this.
I make a motion to approve Mabton chlorine system invoice, final cost breakdown. Yeah, please.
I have a motion by Diana,
I'll second.
second by Sophie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah. You wanna say the amount? The amount? I need the amount, please.
Page 7. You guys jump. Okay, $33,962.32.
For the,
That's right, the chlorine system invoice. Final cost breakdown.
I have a motion by Diana and second by Sophie. And now we're gonna go ahead and add on to that one, B, which was, something that we added for this afternoon. And we talked about that as well.
I make a motion to approve the consultant agreement with GNO in the amount of $15,000.
Motion by Sophie, second. Motion by Sophie, second by Herb, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then we have, this one. So, we're gonna go ahead and go on to, 6B. So, the one we did with, GNO was C. So now we're gonna go ahead and go on to 6, sorry.
No.
A, B, B, and then now we're gonna go on to 6C, that was an add-on as well. So we're gonna go ahead and go into executive session at this time for 20 minutes. So we're gonna have everyone step out of the chambers while we go into executive session. And we should be back at 7:05. Executive session?
It needs to be stated what executive session was for.
No, I should have, you did it.
Yes, it does. You have to have a reason for executive session.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Was any
We're
action
gonna go
taken?
ahead and move on to 7. Visitors' comments, you wanna stand up? If you have any comments?
There you go, Bill.
Well, are you going to talk about that annexation tonight?
You know, Bill, I didn't have it on here, and I wasn't at the last meeting, but if you'd like to state something, and then I can reach out to you tomorrow if you'd like. Ken Yuli's not here, they're coming back from a training,
Okay.
so,
Well, I'm kind of opposed to it.
okay.
My name's Bill Redker, I live at 380 High School Road. I'm opposed to the annexation due to the fact, one, the city does not have ample, clean, potable water for 20-some more homes. Secondly, they want to build right next to Burlington Northern Railroad tracks. And I feel that's a hazard. Thirdly, the city of Mabton has ample acreage to build homes on. You've got 10 acres north of the grade school. It's annexed in the city limits. You've got 7.5 acres right next to the Catholic housing development that's annexed in. You've got 60-some acres on the other side of town in all these, it was all annexed in. Oh, Vera, you were on the council then, but the city annexed everything in for Vargas's, Parsons Sisters, out to where Tommy Bonniewell, all that was all annexed in, ample property for housing. You've got one gentleman building homes on, what's that, 7th? 6th, across from Sally Garza's residence. And he's only building them right there next to the water and sewer. Nothing will ever be done with that other 20 acres because it costs so much for him to make a housing development. And I don't know, to me, it seems like it's just a request for more land that is not needed. And if you build a home down there next to those railroad tracks, I hope you do not have children. And I hope that you have a way of sounding out the noise. Because those trains come through all hours of the mornings, and it is loud, and it's horrible. When I moved there, the train tracks were dead. And since then, they've come alive, and I even have a crack in my ceiling that I had to have fixed because of the vibration, and I'm a quarter mile away from the tracks. So, I don't know, I just don't see it being a good thing. If Mabton really needed to grow, my opinion, if I was a rich man, I would put all new housing right across the road from Wheelers in those fields out there, because water and poop rolls downhill and the sewer plant's right there. And this guy's got that 5 acres, you talk about pumping sewage, that pump that's in there now is malfunctioning a couple times a week. The lights flashing on it and everything. Yeah. And it's not designed for what they're talking about doing. And if you do have somebody come in and put in all new sewer line and stuff to that pump station, and it's not good stuff, substantial piping and everything, once they hook a house to it and it's covered up, you, the city, owns that. You'll have to maintain it. So, buyer beware. You know. And the gentleman I talked to that purchased the place said he was going to build $450,000 homes there. He's going to build 20 some of them. And I asked him, well, where's Safeway? You know, where's Bonvino's? Where can I go sit down and have a hamburger and a beer? Where's the bank? People, I don't know if they're going to come here for that kind of housing unless we have a better infrastructure of things going on in the community. So I kind of feel like I'm not being told the truth of what he's going to build.
He's not gonna build, it's up for sale right now.
I know.
I just thought the other people might wanna know.
Okay,
I called
the property is for sale.
Yeah, he's reselling it.
He's reselling. And I don't know, if it smells fishy, to me it's fishy. I don't know. But just my opinion, if they would build a 55 or older community there, heck, I might move into that one.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, a couple of things. Whenever on this with Aya. First of all, I want to invite you all to the Environmental Justice Council meetings that's going to take place on May 2nd, actually from 12 all the way to 8. And let me tell you why this is really important, because the EJ Council, the Washington State EJ Council, that works for the governor's office, they help to write a recommendation into the supplemental budget through the governor's office for $1 million for emergency water, right? That budget recommendation was approved for $1 million. So we got confirmation today that it is gonna run through the Department of Commerce. So that gives little small cities like Mabton access to emergency funds if there is another water problem, another water crisis, right? So through the Department of Commerce. They help to get that through the legislature. So I would love to invite, especially the council, the mayor, to be a part of their meetings here. They're coming all the way from Olympia, well, all the way from all around the state to present on what the EJ Council does. They want to engage our Yakima County communities. It'd be a wonderful idea if you all went and just, said hello and thank you for the work that you're doing based on what was happening in Mabton. So that clean water recommendation came about because of what was happening here in Mabton. So they will be here May 2nd.
Where's that going to be at?
It's going to be at Heritage University on May 2nd from 12 to 8. The other thing is that you all are supposed to publish and announce when there's trainings with the council. Because of issues of quorum, obviously, and that has not been announced through your website. We had asked for that to be announced for this last Saturday, and it was not announced. We're doing another training this next Saturday. It needs to be announced so that the public is aware that the council the council is meeting for trainings. I know that when you had a budget training, that was not announced either. Those are violations of the OPMA. So just as an FYI, those things need to be announced publicly, and it needs to be open to the public if they like to attend. So the other issue is that I have been approached by several folks who have told me that there are some issues with your reporting requirements for USDA, which compromises the loan. That is really bad for the city, because I don't think I have to tell any of you how difficult it will be to get federal or state loans if you happen to default on a loan. So just as an FYI, there needs to be some communications between the city and USDA.
We only wanted to 11 North Second Avenue. I want to know why these reports haven't been submitted in 2 years. They're supposed to be submitted once a year, and we're delinquent 2 years in a row.
Could you
And we
tell
can't,
us what reports you're talking about?
the ones she was
Sorry.
talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the SDA reports. Do you know that that's putting Mabton in a tight squeeze as far as, being able to receive money or lose money that's sitting out there waiting to be collected? All because somebody's dragging their feet on submitting reports. Why is that? That's it?
This is just comments, we're here to listen to the comments. Thank you.
It doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right at all, Rachel, because people are in the process of trying to help the city.
And I understand that, but we've already talked and discussed, we know what we're doing. Thank you.
We don't know that. That's the public. We don't know what you guys are doing behind your closed doors. You should be informing us.
And when we know
Because
something,
we
we'll
don't know.
let you know.
I mean, you
Okay?
can't just assume that what you're saying is true. It might be, it might not be true. So we're left out, just hanging. And assuming, well, maybe they talked about this, maybe they talked about that.
Can you
But we don't know.
Thank you.
Can you confirm that there is an issue with USDA?
I can't confirm anything.
Excuse me.
My name's Darren Middleton. I live on 307 3rd Avenue, but I'm here on behalf of my mother and anybody else that's a homeowner and a landlord in this community, this town. My mom, Darlene Curtis, she's lived here in Mabton. She graduated in 1955 from Mabton. She's lived here for decades. She lived here as a child. She's been right here across from the church here is where she lives, 427 B Street. She's been a hardworking woman, an honest woman, a taxpayer, and I'm here because of policies with the city regarding tenants that leave water bills. My mom is now needs assistance. She's currently living with me because she broke her knee. A lot of her resources have been drained. She owns 3 rentals, and there's only one that she's received any rent from in a very long time. And one of them we just had to have people evicted. And that was a process. I wasn't aware that they had stopped paying rent because they had been there for a long time and were still paying rent. And when I finally discovered they weren't, I started helping her. We ended up having to evict them, and there was a drug addict that was a brother of the tenant that was bringing in all kinds of trash and probably stolen things and just trashing the place, and she's pretty much helpless to stop that. He was offering drugs to my grandson, who's now 15 years old, and the Officer Fierro's aware of a lot of this stuff, and Officer Sullivan has been involved with this and knows about this stuff, but she's had to evict people before, but we were unaware that the state now requires her to hire an attorney, and she can't self-evict. We were trying to do that. When we went to file the paperwork, we discovered that she is required by the state to hire an attorney. So she's been 14 months without any rent. People have trashed her place. They left a $600 water bill. The water has been shut off since October. And in January, we saw it was a $600 water bill. I believe I spoke to the mayor about this last year because I kind of foresaw this coming. And my mom is with limited resources. And, she worked until this is just her 3rd year that she hasn't drove truck. She's been a truck driver with her husband. And 5 years ago, she wrecked the truck. And she was, the very same night she totaled that truck out, she was back driving the truck again, her husband's truck, that very same night coming back from Seattle. She's a hard-working woman. She's an honest woman. And I think your policies with the water for something that's already she's lost a lot of money on. It's cost her almost $2,000 out of her own pocket actually it's over $2,000 now because of the $385 that we paid for the water bill. So in January, we got possession of the house back on January 8th, and my sister went to the city hall with my mom, and we found out that the water was shut off in October. They said they would continue charging, and I thought it was just the $10 late fee until the bill was paid in full. And in the first place, I don't think it's ethical to strap that on my mother, who is a very limited resource. She broke her knee in September, and she's had surgery on her knee, had all kinds of hard work put in it. She's been through 12 weeks of rehabilitation, and Medicare didn't cover all of that. There's one of the things that's drained her resources. The loss of the rent is another, and then there's other things that 2 of her accounts have been drained by an unethical person and left overdrawn. And anyway, my biggest complaint here is I've been told by the city hall, and the people in the city hall told me to come to the meeting tonight because they continue to charge her minimum consumption of nearly $200 a month until the bill is paid in full. The water's been shut off since October. There's no water, sewer, garbage being provided to the house, but she's still being charged minimum consumption. And now, even though it was $600 in January and we paid $385, now they say it's $900 and continuing to grow until it's paid in full. She gets $900 some dollars a month in Social Security.
So he did speak to Yuli, and Yuli did tell him that the reason why he's getting minimum consumption, he is disconnected, but the only reason why he is disconnected is because of non-payment. And so when you get disconnected with non-payment, you're still getting minimum consumption billed, and you can't disconnect the water until your full bill is paid. And so that's what she tried to explain to him, and then
And-
that's pretty much why he's here now.
And my point is.
That's not fair for an elderly lady.
My point is, that's
Not better than
unethical.
anybody.
Is
No.
that in our, is that in our?
That's unethical. If that's your
Ordinance?
policy, it's
I'm
an
not sure, Yuli's
unethical
the one that spoke to
policy.
him.
Okay.
Yeah, she
So
does speak
let
to
me, I'll talk to you, Lee, we'll look up in our ordinance, and see what we
Yeah,
can do.
you remember, I brought this up to you, I think you got upset with me, but
Well,
I
no.
foresaw this
What
coming
happened
and I
when
was
you came
upset
in,
that
You were upset and I'm like, wait, slow down, because you were yelling,
I wasn't yelling.
and I had to
I'm
call
a
your
big guy.
your stepsister. So what I'll do is I'll meet with Yuli in the morning.
Yeah, I know, you called Vicky to come down and watch things.
Yeah, so I'll meet with, I'm having a staff meeting in the morning, and we'll go over this, I'll have her pull out, the bill,
Yeah,
And, let me see it,
and then if you.
She hadn't been paid any rent on that
We
house
have
for
this-
14
we have a
months
number.
before we got possession
So
of the
tomorrow,
house.
after the meeting, I will give you a call.
Okay,
Okay, let me just meet with them, let me meet with Yuli,
okay.
and, we'll go from there, and I'll
Yeah,
have
my
them come
mom's
in.
not in a position to continue paying that and get it paid up to be able to stop the billing.
Okay.
She's just not in a position to do that.
What's the balance on your water bill?
Thank you.
The last time I was in the city hall was just on the 15th. They said it was $900.
That's the balance right now.
Yeah.
Mr. Middleton,
Yes,
you said it was shut off in October
yes, ma'am.
for non-payment, and you still have renters in there?
We were going through the process of eviction, but yes, we took possession of the house back. The sheriff came on the 8th of January
January.
and
So technically, they can't shut off the water if people are still living there. But after January,
they did. I was
could've shut-
told in city hall that it was shut off in October. That's what I was told in city
So
hall.
if the water bill hadn't been paid, they go 2 months, I know that they go and they disconnect. Is Joe still here? Joe, is that, am I correct? If after 2 months, if they haven't paid the bill, then it does go up for disconnection? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was in October.
I was even told,
December.
Yeah, so
that it was my mom and her husband's house, the water was shut off and he's still living there.
but even if it was shut off because of non-payment and people live there,
So I think it's.
technically, I think they still need to get charged the bill
But you see,
until
my problem
nobody's
is the city
there.
has a lot more resources than my mom does, and she's already been screwed by these
Because
tenants.
technically, we
And,
can't shut people off when they're there, but after January, once you finally did get everybody out, she could have
you know,
given the
if they,
city.
if they owe their water bill, they do get disconnected.
But the water was shut off in
It was shut
October.
off in October.
The water was shut off in October.
And they haven't been providing water or sewer or garbage services,
Since
but they
October.
continue, they
So,
continue.
if you come in tomorrow, let me talk to them, we can give you resources to help your mom get that taken care of. Because we do have a couple of, phone numbers to resources that we do get to the residents.
Okay,
And I know that,
They do
send vouchers out, you know,
okay.
You'll have to,
reach out to them, make them.
Yeah, well, I stand by that, this
Yeah.
is an unethical policy, you know, it is. My mom has been here
Well, I know
for
that
decades, she's been
They
paying
go
her
by
taxes,
policy,
been a
so,
good citizen,
no, and
and
I understand, I know
she's
who your
in a
mother is.
position that she can't afford to get that paid off and to continue charging her as
So,
long.
yeah, like I said, tomorrow we'll get back to you and we can get you some numbers, hopefully they can help you pay that off.
Thank you.
anyone else?
It's okay.
Even nobody's
We're gonna talk.
on the premises, you guys are still charging $200
Look here, so for instance, right now we have a resident that's been 3 years, I'm correct, or 3 years, maybe going on 4, a home that they're living in it, but they haven't had running water, the meter has been pulled. So because they haven't come in, they still have to, they're being minimal consumption, whether they're using it or not. And because
I'm
they,
using garbage.
the owner hasn't come in.
They come in, they came in and had it turned off, didn't they?
Who?
These people.
So he said he came in January and he spoke to somebody to get it disconnected.
So
But then what
if
you,
that's disconnected then and there's absolutely nobody on the premises, we need to look at our policy.
But you have to remember, the person that was living there, we don't know if they were turning on the water either, so I need to talk to Joe about that. Because it was,
That's what I was wondering, maybe
Yeah.
just read the
Read the
meters and see if it
meter
was in
more
use,
often.
yeah.
So.
So I think like in this situation, the gentleman that just walked out, like if, for example, if he came in and said, oh, I wanna close this account, nobody's gonna be there, we just want the water off, or for anybody in general, like, okay, we're gonna take off to, for example, we're gonna take off to Mexico for the winter. I wanna close the account, so that I'm not getting a bill every month. I'm not sure what the process is in City Hall, but we'll close the meter, the meter won't get read all those months if the account's closed. And they come back, they say, okay, we want our water back, so they reopen the account. I don't know if that was his situation, but as far as turning it off after 2 months, I think that's when somebody doesn't pay their bill, they get a shut off notice, and we go out there and shut it off. That's when they're past due. Then again, I don't know what his situation was, so I just, as far as.
I do remember, I had to call Vicky to come in with him, that day, because he was mad. So.
What I don't understand is if his water was shut off in October, as he stated, his water was shut off in October. And then he kept on getting billed from October up until now. And then you guys are saying that in January, his water was shut off.
Well, there was still.
But if that's the case.
Somebody was still living in the home until January.
Yeah,
So
but
we don't know if that person, those people in the home were turning on the water.
That's what, this is my point. So if somebody would, let's say his water was shut off in October, and there's people living there, the meters get read. Why wasn't the meter being read to see if there was water consumption in that house? But then in January, then they go and say, oh no, your water's turned off. So now he's still getting billed per month for usage that he didn't even use.
Well, he
So
didn't, but somebody was using it when they were in there.
Either you need to void his bill, or you need to refund his money
From
back.
January on.
You need to refund his money
Yeah,
back.
so-
It's one or the other.
Well, for one, we don't refund money.
So then
And-
you should get credit for the next
So-
6 months.
And two, we don't know. I know that the house was being lived in until January, if I'm correct.
That's what he said, yes.
Mhm. So he still owes on his bill. He could say he wants it off, but we don't know. I don't know if it was in his name or if it was in the tenant's name,
It's under his mom's name.
his mom. So if he would have come in, he still can't take his word because he's not the landlord or he's not the owner. And that's
The
something
mom
that-
is.
Yeah. So she came in last year. But if he came in January, the girls can't take his word because he's not the landlord.
But they could have told him, you need to bring your mom in here.
And I think that's what was told to him.
Yes.
Then he brought his mom and the sister to come talk.
And that was,
I don't know. I didn't talk to him.
Okay, so let's say that if everything he is saying is true, then what happens?
Well, we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at the numbers.
But por all digo, is they gonna get reimbursed it, or are they
They
gonna
don't
get
get reimbursed,
credit?
what they'll do is they'll get a credit. But if his meter was running, then there's no credit. Because the people that were in that home, they were turning on the water by hand. And I don't know if we've had to pull that meter before.
Yeah, because you were saying that the meter was pulled, so there's
No,
no
not
way
at
of
that
water
home.
going
I don't
through.
know if the meter was pulled at that home. It was pulled at another home, that there's people living in it now. And see, we've asked that landlord to come in and say, hey, I want the water off. Well, there's no water running, but you still have to come in and say it, because if not, you're still getting that minimal consumption. Because we don't know that, we just know the meter is not there, but you haven't come in to say, no more. So now those people,
it's like a couple $1,000, like,
or $5,000.
I think it's 7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys do in a situation like that?
So I've already talked to them and we told them, come in, and they refuse. The landlord refuses to come in because it's her son. And I'm like, well, they don't have no water anyway, so, come and we live in their house. Exactly. But this has been going on for this is, 4 years, I believe.
Okay, so in a situation like that, can't they get fined for
The health
sewage?
department.
For sewage? I mean, where are they going with the sewer?
We can't step on their property.
Why?
Private property, we can't step on their property,
So anybody can get away with it.
pretty much.
And it's not an issue with the Department of Health when people are pooping and
Yeah.
when there's neighbors?
I thought the health department, they said no, they called them.
We call CPS, we call everything. Because we know there's children living in the home.
It's changed, so you can't do that anymore.
So when you say the meter was turned off, but they're able to turn it back on?
Yeah, so now what we do is, we just pull the meters now, because people, they'll go and they'll turn them on. And that's tampering with government property.
So
And
they're gonna get
our
fined?
police officers have gone out there already and let people know, no, we're not doing this. So when we pull the meter, they go in and they start going and getting the pipes and start doing up the cells, and it messes up everything. You know. Right, Joe? We see it all. We see it all. You know, so.
Does a landlord or a homeowner have the right to turn off the water in case of an emergency when there's nobody, let's say he can't get a hold of anybody?
Well, usually they get a hold of me, and then I'll call one of the guys out, or I think Vera's been called before, haven't you? Emergency, I know Diana has, I think you've been called, haven't you? So then they just reach out to me and I'll be like, I've already been, notified. But it's just people calling to see who they can get a hold of.
But por no digo, if it's an emergency right there and then you gotta make a decision, you know what, I gotta turn this damn water off. I have to turn it off, I can't wait for anybody. Can they turn it off and then get a hold of somebody and say, hey, you know what? I turned my water off because this is what's going on. They're not gonna get penalized for it, are they?
No, but they shouldn't, be messing with it, because if they break that meter,
Uh-huh.
then they're responsible. And those meters aren't cheap.
Okay. And it's my understanding that any piping from the meter out to your alley or out to the front of your house is city property, right?
Joe?
And any piping from the meter towards the property is the owner's property, the owner's expense.
Anything after the meter is the homeowner's.
The owner's expense, okay.
Same with when it comes to sewer, anything right off the main, all the way up to the home, it's homeowner's responsibility.
Even the sewer line?
Yeah, even sewer line. So a lot of people think that, like, we've gone out to calls where somebody says there's something broken, and a lot of citizens are under the impression that it's just because it's on the right of way. It's city property, but the actual sewer line itself can run all the way into the street, and anything from the sewer main to the home is homeowner's responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one question, just real quick. When are the hydrants gonna get flushed?
Joe has the plan and the date. I'm not sure.
We haven't came up with a date yet, but we're gonna do it here soon because sediment's starting to build up.
And then water usage is gonna start climbing.
And that's another thing too, is it's kind of hard for us to flush when the water levels in the reservoirs are low, so we gotta go based off of that too. And right now, all these months since, I wanna say early fall, we were only running off of one well, which is well 4. Just because of we knew that well 5 is one of the biggest, that well is the one that's producing the most iron and manganese and what's creating the smell, so we've been trying to avoid using that well. So right now we do have that well back online, but then again I think it should help because our chlorine system is a lot more efficient with our new chlorine system.
Can I make a suggestion, can those be done at night? When the usage of water is minimal?
The only thing that'd be going to overtime. And that's what we're trying to avoid right now, at least until we can get our numbers where we want them. So, and I know that.
When we do them, we try to do them early in the morning.
Coming in at 6.
Yeah, we try to come in early in the early hours when there's not so much traffic because the water does.
Yeah.
And people get bothered very little bit.
But then again, they can approve the overtime, can't they? The council members? Oh, they can't? I thought they could.
No, we're just, right now, we're trying to just keep them, right now, we really haven't had to do any overtime. I think we just did one maybe a week ago due to a funeral, and I don't even think it went into overtime, or Did it, Joe?
I
The
think
one
it
that was
did,
from the
it did a
coast?
little bit, but the family paid for the work.
Yeah, the family did, because we had to charge a little more. But, other than that, I think that was the only one. But other than that, they're trying to get in and out and, and just, do what they have to do. And so we don't have it.
I have a question. With the nursery closing, I got a call asking about if any resources were going to be put to helping the people that were laid off over there.
I don't think it's gonna be closed very long. I heard there was a ranch that was gonna get it. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't think it's gonna stay closed very long.
And use it,
It's
use
gonna
it for
be
the
a
same
green-
thing?
I don't think it's gonna be a
Hmm?
greenhouse though. I think
They're gonna use it for the same thing?
No. So, that's all I know.
Is that right, is that annexed into the city?
Yeah.
That whole area there is?
So no resources available to those that are laid off now?
No, I think a lot of them went to work at surrounding ranches.
Because I heard that a lot of them were struggling.
We struggle too.
Well, I mean, basically what this ED was saying is that there was no response from the city in terms of helping just to facilitate even just some information to those that were affected by the closure.
I mean, we don't have anything to do with them out there, so, I mean, unless somebody comes in and asks us, then, but.
Like with the gentleman, with Mrs. Curtis, you said come in, you had a couple of numbers that might help her.
Oh, for
Maybe
resources,
that,
yeah. Well, then, that's because we have like, for water, and then I know we did put one out
Well,
for
we might be
light.
having trouble with her.
Yeah, like, I think in January, I did put some flyers out on the counter just for light people to help with light.
Yeah.
But other than that, those two. And I don't know if there's any more funding, but we still send them, and they give them the dates that they can help them, if there's. But, really quick, I know we have dump day this Saturday. It's $15 the first load, $7 additional. I know people were asking if it was gonna be free. I know the last one we did, it was free. Though she was able to get a nonprofit, got that to come in and help her as a project for the community. So I don't know, I believe she's working on something. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the project of free dump day, but I know she has something that they're working on for the community. So we do have dump day, and I don't know if anybody can go out there. It's gonna start from 8 to 1, correct, Joe? 8 to 1 this Saturday.
And I had a comment about that dump day.
It's gonna be 9, from 9.
Anytime we do something like that, it needs to be brought to the city, and then we need to give people more notice.
It was brought to the city.
No, it was never brought to the council. It was never.
She did bring it to the council.
This someday?
Maria, when she came with the nonprofit.
No.
No, that one already happened.
This one is coming out.
So this one was, we had to reschedule it because it was supposed to be last Saturday. But
It was still not brought up.
Noticed about last Saturday either, is what I'm
it
saying.
went out in the calendar, the beginning of the year.
It needs to come to the council here to let us know what you guys are planning on doing, and then we need to approve it, and at least give the people a month time to get ready for it.
Sophie, it went out in January in the newsletter. All the
In
events.
January?
Yeah, the newsletter that went out, that I put out, it went out in there. The dates, everything that's for the year. There's a calendar that.
So all those dates have been brought to the council and then approved?
There are dates that we did the year prior, and we just kept them at the same weekend. And we went ahead and got it ready and sent it out in January. So it's like the dump day.
So it still needs to be brought, because you did this last year, so it should be brought to the council at least a month ahead of time at a meeting. Hey, we're gonna have this dump day, so we can start advertising and putting it out there. I just saw it on the reader board like last weekend, or last week.
Yeah, but it was in the newsletter in January.
see nothing in the bill,
In the what?
in the bill.
Nope, it's been on the reader board, and they did put the rescheduling of the date last week when Joe notified us that we weren't able to get the dumpsters because everybody else was doing dump day that day. So we rescheduled it, but it's been on the board.
Yeah, just early last week, but nobody was told. Nobody in the council was told unless you got that notice in January.
Yeah, there was an alert. We're gonna go ahead, if you'd like to come out and help us on Saturday.
We have a training to go to already.
So if you'd like to come out, you're more than welcome to.
What-
I know Vera was out there, the last one.
I'm not gonna bring it
Who
up
else
to
was
get
out
voted
there?
on.
Just me and Vera,
No?
yeah, and so, okay.
We're 4 months into the year, and I haven't heard you guys vote on the pro temp yet. And that should have been done at the beginning, when these girls got sworn in.
We'll put that on the next agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And do you have any
We've already gone
comments?
through
Okay.
3 or 4 council meetings and still had nothing.
But it will be on the next agenda.
And it's been brought up.
Steph, do you have any? Anything over here? Okay. Where's the, does it start right
I
there?
have a question, again, I'm sorry. I see her recording a phone, is that thing not working?
There's no internet connection.
Okay. So I remember a while back I mentioned about, in the past, they used to have a tape recorder. So Yuli was saying she could never hear what's going on, and sometimes that doesn't work. We have a tape recorder recording the stuff so nothing gets missed.
Nothing's been missed, she's had that on, she's had it on the whole time.
Well, we don't know because she misses it when it's recorded on there. So if we can have a tape recorder to record everything.
And they're not being
And then what are we gonna do about
They're not being
the
uploaded on YouTube yet.
live streaming the meeting?
We have it on Zoom, so they can go back and watch it on Zoom.
Where?
No, you can't, we have it on Zoom.
Where though?
This for meeting is going on now.
They all go back on, Yuli's putting them back onto the, what do you call this website?
On the city website, it's not up there.
What website?
Our website, the city.
Our
Nope.
city website.
Yeah.
They're not there. They're not there.
Okay,
Or
so
on
that-
YouTube.
That would be after, way after the fact. How about live streaming?
So
When do we can go back to that?
when we can decide that the meetings are calm.
You don't
No.
You don't get
No,
to decide
no.
that, the council gets to decide that.
No, if we want it live streamed now, we should be able to live stream it now.
Okay, well, we can talk about that.
Can we put it on the next agenda? Can we put it on the next agenda? Okay, thank you.
But we need to vote on it. I mean, you gotta vote on it at the next
So
agenda,
we're
the
gonna
next
go ahead
meeting.
and adjourn this meeting at 8:02.
Thank you.
It's another thing that's been put off for the past month,
Yeah.
2 months.
They're just prolonging it now.
Mhm.